And I've had the pleasure of being able to meet a lot of you and spend a lot of time with a lot of you, whether it's coming down here to Chicago, whether it's having dinner with you guys, whether it's running into you or just getting to break bread with you guys. And you guys have something so special and so amazing. And I feel like culture is a very tough thing to put into words, right? People always talk about culture. And to me, culture is more felt than it is you can explain it in words. With that said, you know, everyone I've ever met from your guys' offices, one, you're all in. It's amazing how highly engaged you all are, how important relationships are to you. It's so apparent and so clear that when you guys are together, you have something so tight and a bond that is just so special, and you have a culture of family. And I think that's really important and really special. And I'm grateful to be able to share this time with you guys and all the time I get to spend with you, because you guys have such an amazing culture and an environment. And for us, right, I think, as I mentioned, culture is harder to put into words. With that said, we did an exercise with our team because we know we have a very special culture, right? And everyone in our office and our market center knows we have a special culture. And everyone in our industry and even throughout Chicago knows we have a special culture. With that said, nobody totally gets it unless you're part of it and you're in it. Meaning you guys all get what you have because it's so special. And I know what it's like and what you guys have, yet I don't totally get it because I'm not there. And what we did was we do a quarterly offsite. At our Q1 offsite, we did an exercise where everyone went around and shared what they feel we're a culture of. And some of the things that we're a culture of was so impactful because it was so overlapping. And just to give you perspective before we jump in, we are a culture of excellence. We're a culture of honesty and family and giving back to our community and abundance. And we do that through our like monthly social events, through our 365 days of giving, right? One thing we do, and this is such an easy, fun thing, especially now, right now more than ever, I think we'd all agree, it's always important to love on each other and put positivity out there. But now more than ever, we all need it. So whether you're part of a team or you're not, or you're an individual agent, it doesn't matter. We all need those people to lean on, and we all need to lean on each other. So I'm grateful to start my morning off after our team huddle we had, and then with you guys. So much love to you guys.
For sure. Josh, we appreciate you being on, and thank you for starting with that. Tell us a little bit more about your culture. You know, I think one of the biggest things that you guys do and talk about daily in your daily huddles or when you guys get together is, you know, the sense of gratitude and how that really kind of powers your team to serve others at a high level.
Yeah. So we start every single day off with gratitude. We have a team huddle Tuesday through Friday and a bigger team meeting on Monday. We go through more in detail on Monday. We start every single one of them off with gratitude. And to be honest, for the last 3.5 weeks since we've been working from home, every single one of our huddles, basically the entire time, is gratitude, and it's awesome. Here's why it's so impactful. It's not just the thought of the mindset where your mind goes to a positive place when you're just thinking about what you're grateful for alone. But what it does is we get to connect on such a deep level, meaning that some days our gratitude is shared with, hey, I'm grateful for the bus driver who saw me running down the street and waited for me, right? And sometimes it's crazy and impactful as I'm grateful for being healthy, and here's why. And what that does is we get to share and connect on such a deep level that we know what's going on in each other's worlds. It's very apparent that what you guys have is so special. I mean, it's so clear with what Charlie was just sharing about everyone that capped. He knows every single one of you because he's connected with you on such a deep, deep level. And by us sharing gratitude with each other, it's the best way to start our day off. Everyone on our team looks forward to it. There are times where there's breakdowns. Literally, it happened just now. But now we know what's going on in each other's world when someone needs to be picked up. So we are a culture of sharing gratitude, and we are a culture of having each other's back, and a culture of empowerment, right? And that leads to positivity. And one thing we're doing right now for gratitude, if it's okay if I share, there's a great idea from one of our teammates. Everyone on our team shot a video of what we're grateful for, and this will lead to what we're going to talk about in a little bit. And we shot a video of what we're grateful for. And, you know, people are talking about, like, what are we doing right now for lead gen? When we're calling people, right, we're not calling them and asking them for business. Right now, people literally just need to be supported and loved on and we want to understand how their lives are being impacted. So what we did is we all shot a video of what we're grateful for. And Charlie, I'll be sending it to you, so don't worry. and asked in return for them to share a video back on what they're grateful for. And people are just loving it. And it is such a positive light. And we're going to create a video of gratitude to put out there to spread the positivity with everyone's videos back.
That's awesome. So dig in a little bit. We touched on gratitude and such a positive energy and force kind of during these times. And then how are you translating that, going a little bit deeper into like some of your lead generation tactics, right? I think one of the things that I know intimately about you, having my sister-in-law, Sydney, who works on your team, is you guys are, not only are you a culture of positivity and gratitude, but you have a culture of productivity, right? And how are you driving that? And what does that accountability look like for your team right now?
Yeah. Okay. So we know, right? We know that we need to build such a deeper foundation right now. I think if I'm understanding correctly, in Milwaukee, you're just like a little bit behind us from the standpoint of like shelter in place and like things starting to now be impacted more. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, I mean, we're pretty deep in it right now. We know that we're just we're building a deeper foundation to go even wider later. So we know that it's going to be a gradually then suddenly thing, meaning that we talk about this almost every day. We talked about this yesterday, that like the activities we are doing today, it's not only that it's going to only impact us 2 to 3 months down the road. Our coach is one that I think a lot of you know too, Ashley Lung. She's an amazing person. And she shared something. She made this so simple. And she basically said, right, our mind share right now is going to lead to market share later. And that's not why we're doing it. We're not calling people just because we want something in return. That has never been a reason for us doing anything. We put good out there because we truly get high off other people, like feeling other people being positive because of what we're putting out there. That fuels our fire, right? And so with that said though, right now we have less control in our market right now over how many clients we're putting under contract. However, we have full control over our mindset, and we have full control over how many people we're connecting with and loving on and pouring into and checking in with, right? So how we're doing it, if you're asking like how we're actually doing it, is we're literally we started with, right?
Oop, I think we paused. Josh, you there? No? All right. So guys, as he is coming back from being unfrozen. Oh, here we go.
Okay, I could hear you. Sorry, I don't know where you lost me.
What you said, literally, here's what we're doing.
Oh, here's what we're doing. Well, we started on day one, we pivoted, we realized right now, more than ever, any clients that are actively searching, under contract, on the market, or coming to market, more than ever, we need better communication than ever, right? Can you hear me all right?
Yep, you're good.
All right, cool. So we went through and we started with calling every single client under contract, every client on the market, every active buyer, everyone who's considering their search, and everyone who's coming to market. Then what we did was, and we spread it, we realized we all need to roll up our sleeves right now. Yes, we have hyper-focused roles on our team. Right now, everyone on our team, there's nothing outside of our roles. So Anita, who's our rock star teammate, she went through and literally she has a deep relationship with every one of our clients because she handles everything contract to close. And with our buyers, starts the process even further along or earlier in the process. She reached out to every single client. She started with everyone that closed in the last 6 months and then went back a year and just checked in to see how they're doing, right? So it was a really simple way of doing it. Now what I'm doing is the gratitude videos. And the thing that hasn't changed, and I think is really important, this is a really simple thing because sometimes we get in our own heads in general with lead gen of who we're gonna call or what we're gonna say. Start your day off, starting now, and even when we get back on the other side of this, if you're not already, and go into either your Facebook or your command or your CRM, whatever you're using. Facebook's an easy way, and literally call people on their birthdays. So quick question, who in here likes getting called on their birthday? Raise your hand. Who in here sometimes gets text or Facebook messages from like some of their closest friends or family on their birthday? It's such a good way to love on them. You're not calling them to ask them for anything. Tommy, my business partner, does a talk on on ATMs, right? On what you can do at an ATMs. And there's 3 things you can do at an ATM. And since we can't really talk, even though I'll explain it rather than ask it. The 3 things you can do at an ATM are you can make a deposit, you can make a withdrawal, or you can check your balance, right?
Yep.
We're not making deposits because we want anything in return. We're making deposits because we truly want to help and put love out there. But when you make enough deposits, you earn the right to make a withdrawal. And if all you're doing is making withdrawals over and over again, when you go into that ATM, it's going to show up as non-sufficient funds, right? So calling someone on their birthday, or calling them just to love on them, or calling them to see how work is right now and how, if they're being impacted professionally and how you can help them, right? That's such a huge deposit, and that's such mind share. So it's really keeping it simple. I'm not calling and asking anyone for business. And if it comes up, if they say, hey, want to ask about the market, I'm going to absolutely tell them. It's different than all of our active clients who we're actually informing them with all the information. We're arming them with everything. We're walking through the pros and cons, because there's no blanket statement right now of yes, it's a good time to buy or sell, or no, it's not. It's really going to be specific to each person. And we're going to make the best decision collectively with our clients based on their situation. But it's not selling them on anything or telling them we're not looking at we're less focused on business closing right now, to be honest, more focused on our clients, our people, our loved ones, and making sure everyone personally and professionally is in a good state of mind.
Yeah, so you're looking at your database, like one of the things I love about your team is 91% of their business was repeat and referral, right? You look at that and you say, how does someone achieve, and remember 91%, and they also did 71 million last year, right? And you look at that and you say, okay, now is the time, guys. What he's saying is he's leaning into his team to say, pull your people, your database, your connections, your friends, everybody you have tighter, make deposits into their life, right? And what you're doing is you're building those roots deeper into those relationships, right? And not just asking for, when are you going to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Because everybody's at home and everybody's looking for social interaction. They're just providing that interaction for their team. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing, is we essentially want to be that positive light for them if they need it. And even if they don't need it as much as others, everyone needs it right now.
Yeah. And I think the ATM analogy is so perfect. You have to make deposits in people's lives before you can take withdrawals. So talk a little bit too about both, I believe they kind of go hand in hand, right? There's the aspect of accountability, right? How do you personally hold yourself accountable right now when it's so easy to just hang out at home or do whatever you want to do? And at the same time, how do you hold those others within your team and your family, the 13 people on your team, how do you hold them accountable at the same time? And what are you doing from a check-in standpoint to making sure that people are productive right now?
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things. So one, again, regardless of whether you're on a team or you're an individual agent, you have a family of people that want to help you and support you, right? So what we're doing on what I'm doing personally is I'm literally just asking for it. I'm letting anyone on our team know that, hey, if there's something that you were waiting on or expected me to do and I didn't do it, I need you to tell me directly, because there's a lot going on right now and I want to make sure that I'm following through on everything. So to be honest, I'm just asking for it, because everyone needs that accountability. I think there's a difference, and I think I had blurred lines for a while, or had a challenge in figuring out the difference between micromanaging and accountability. And they're 2 totally different things. No one wants to be micromanaged. No one has the time to micromanage. Accountability, right, is ensuring that we're achieving and exceeding our standards and what we've committed to each other. So how we're doing that with our team is everyone on our team, we just started this. We have accountability around standards for metrics for calls, face-to-faces, break breads, contacts, texts, touches, all of that stuff. And buyer consultations or marketing consultations, listing appointments. What we've done though is, and those numbers are sent to Krista, who's our lead buyer specialist, who is obviously from Wisconsin, Milwaukee area. And everyone good comes from Milwaukee area, right? So anyways, Krista, she's holding the team accountable by them reporting their numbers weekly, right? But what we realized was we needed to change it up and even get deeper. And we needed to, because Krista should not be having to do daily check-ins with everyone on the team. That's not right for her or anyone. So what we put into place was accountability partners, and everyone's checking in daily. And what we're checking is this: back to our coach, Ashley, we realize that right now, being real, it's not saying that our goal isn't to put listings or buyers under contract. It is. That is just not, we have less control over that today than we did 4 weeks ago, right? So what we're doing is we changed it this month. We've always had goals around under contracts because we felt like we had more control over that than what closed this month, right? We've completely shifted it to 4 metrics this month. Contacts, so the number of people we are contacting. Touches, which is a text, call, Facebook message, bomb video, handwritten note, any way you're touching them, right? Social media, but directly communicating with them. And calls. And then the 4th thing, so on the operations side, is how many systems or new plans we're putting into place this month and evolving, because our systems are always evolving and more now than ever because we had to change and pivot. So those 4 things. And so each day we set a team goal for the month of how many of each of those we're going to achieve. And everyone individually has a standard. And we went on 15th protocol before even what happened before this pandemic, where we had to double up. So our standard daily, okay, it's very simple, is before our 15th protocols, 5 calls, 10 different people, 20 different touches. So a text and a call to one person is 2 touches. We doubled it up. So right now it's 10, 20, and 40. We're doing that at a minimum 4 days a week, Tuesday to Friday. So everyone knows exactly what they need to achieve. More accountability is this. In the past, we have a performance plan based on production, right? Because we want it to be very black and white, because otherwise it gets very gray on like, if someone's not all in and hitting the standards. Again, there's a difference between standards and goals, right? I had blurred lines on that for years too. Standard is the minimum that we are going to allow for each other and that we're going to hold each other accountable to, and we will all achieve that and more. Goals are going to be something we're absolutely going to achieve, but it's bigger push and it's a bigger stretch. So again, the standard is the minimum we're going to allow for each other. Does that make sense?
Totally.
So what we've done is we changed it. We changed it starting April 1 because we felt like we had actually a few days before April 1. We had less control over clients we're putting under contract for results and more over who we're reaching out to in our mindset. So now our standards are based solely on those metrics, right? So every person on the team knows that if they don't hit those metrics, that's basically them raising their hand saying they're not all in. Well, we had it so there's a couple people on our team that are newer that don't have as many people in their database, and they've basically called everyone. We had 650 untagged leads in our data bank. So what we did was we said, hey, there's 650. We're going to assign 50 at a time to each person who's run out of people to call or contact. And you'll get assigned more once you've called, or you have to do 2, call and text or call and email every one of those people. And so then we said also, like, think about it, go through your phone, Facebook, LinkedIn, social media. You have more contacts than you might even realize. And it's okay to go back and call people now that you haven't called in the last few weeks, because now you're checking in for a different reason. So there is accountability from that standpoint. Does that give you clarity?
Yeah, totally. Can you just touch base? Your 4 metrics are contacts, touches, calls, and then you're implementing new systems or new plans. We have
a standard around implementing, because otherwise it's based solely on sales team and not operations. And we wanted it's a little harder to quantify and put standards on the operation side. We do with our core values, right? But it's a little harder with like metrics. So the 4th one, which is for the operations team, is how many new systems are putting into place to adjust with the times.
Sure.
So for example, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What's your example?
Like one example is right now we're running Command side by side top producer. Well, we've been doing our transactions through Command, but we haven't moved everyone over. Well, when we looked at what expenses absolutely we should cut out, it was, like our mailing, the MailChimp or whatever we're using to mail, and top producer. So we put a date in, and when we are absolutely going to have every client migrated over there and running fully on Command. And there's no better time than now to all rip the Band-Aid off and just do it. And so we are doing it, but we weren't doing it at the level we can and maximizing what we could do with it. So like that is a new system or standard that we have put into place that needs to be executed this month.
Cool. Let me ask you, a question came in from one of the agents on the line was, you're doing a lot of things on the front end, right? To stay in touch with people and touch your database and bring people in closer together to what you guys do. What do you talk about on the backside of that was once a closing happens, right? We know the average person, the turnover is 3 to 7 years between when they buy a home and when they buy their next home, right?
Yep.
What do you do like day one after a closing? Like what happens after what does that look like for those contacts?
Okay, great question. And we have a new system that a friend Sheena in DC shared that we're looking at implementing and making tweaks to it. But here's what we do right now. I mean, we have our 36 touch. We do events. And it's not like we do like parades around the city type events, because it's different in Chicago than some towns, but those are events that you could do. We're doing events, but honestly, we're getting really personal from the standpoint of we're writing a handwritten birthday card to every single client that we have their birthday for. And the easiest way, if you don't have them, and is either sending out a Google form and asking them to fill it out, or just going on Facebook every month before April, looking at everyone's birthday in there, and then adding that to your command or whatever CRM you're using. And then we have a birthday spreadsheet essentially, and we merge it in and we send out a birthday card, right? Yeah. So pretty simple system.
At the end of the day, you're not doing anything differently for those that had a closing yesterday than those that are having potentially buying in the next 6 months, right?
No, right.
You're being systematic in consistent in terms of how you touch your people.
It's consistency. Here's the key, okay? Everyone uses social media different. I do post a little bit, but not as much, and I don't post that much. I use social media. So think about it this way. You know when you're taking a test, like either back in college or high school or for your real estate license, and you can use the test to take the test, meaning you're looking at a question, and on that question, you don't know the answer, but another question had that answer in it, right? Yep. So for example, if I see, Charlie, that you just got back from swimming with the dolphins in the Bahamas, I've always wanted to swim with the dolphins. I've never done it. If I call you and just reach out to you and say, hey, your trip looked awesome, tell me about it. I'm not calling and asking you, hey, do you know anyone looking to buy, sell, or invest? Now, I'm not saying that's not the right way. My style is just a little different. So again, you got to do what works for you.
Yeah. So I think he's frozen again, but the biggest key in all of this is consistency, right? And consistency in how you approach your database, how you touch your people. And I think what he was getting into is how he leverages Facebook to gather information on people to have meaningful conversations, right? And I'm good friends with Josh on Facebook too. He doesn't post a ton, but I know every time I see him, he knows something about me, even though we hadn't had a conversation in 6 months. And so he's always looking and gathering information on leveraging Facebook as a way to gather that information to have meaningful connections with people, right? So Josh Weinberg, if you're still frozen out there in the universe, we appreciate your time. You're an unbelievable resource for us up in Milwaukee. And we appreciate everything that you do and that your willingness to give back from time, talent, and treasure to all of us here in Milwaukee.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back. Cool. All right. Hey, I got one last question to kind of wrap this up, and it's actually a follow-up to something you said earlier, because I wrote down some things and I lost you too. You said right now you're doubling up on your activities for your people, and you're doing a system of 10, 20, 40. What was the 10, the 20, and the 40?
So it's 10 calls a day.
Yep.
20 different contacts a day. What I mean by contacts is unique people contacted, and 40 different touches. That our standard has been 5, 10, and 20. And the reason we shifted from, it used to just be calls. And we realized that if people can connect with people on a deep level through Facebook Messenger or text or Snapchat, then cool. If you can have an impactful conversation, then we didn't want to limit it to calls. But we realized there has to be some element of calling, right? Some people like calling more than others. Some people don't like calling more than others. But there is a difference between having a conversation with someone over the phone than through text. And everyone's available more now than ever.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Josh, we thank you for your time. I sincerely appreciate you jumping on and giving back to our group. Phenomenal mindset and gratitude, and we're thankful for the relationship we have with you. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you, guys. Feel free to share my info if it cut out or you guys want more details or anyone wants to call me, or if you just need positive energy or pick me up, honestly, call me. I see some of my favorite people in here, and it's really awesome to see, and it's a great way to get my day rolling.
Cool. Thanks
Love
for your
you.
time.
Love you, brother.
Love you too. We'll see ya.
See you later.
All right, guys. Now we'll jump back into some of our stuff that we have for you. All right, so I'm going to jump into an industry update to give you what is the market telling us, right? And I took a little bit of a different approach this week. Is I recognize that a lot of the stats and figures I was sharing in the past was a little bit too jumbled up and maybe a little bit hard to decipher. So I broke those down even further to give you a better idea of what all is going on in the industry. And then I have a recap for you at the end, so you have some nuggets to talk to with potential clients or people who are concerned. So here is the showing time information, guys. What you see here is the weekly showing activity. These are the activities within the marketplace on the listings, on showings. And what is happening is this number of showings of week on average 2020 versus 2019. In the US, showing activity is down 64% through April 5th. Wisconsin showing activity is down 47%. This is just this year versus last year through April 5th. Going into market dynamics of what's going on, this is the 5-county metro area, so Milwaukee, Racine, Ozaukee, Washington, and Waukesha. And this is looking at total number of new listing units. So what is the data telling us, right? And the last 8 weeks, on average, between February and March, there were 613 units, new listing units coming on per week, right? Well, within the last 2 weeks, you can see that's really fallen off. Where we were averaging 613, we are now averaging 474 new listing units per week the last 2 weeks. This is 23% below average inventory levels for this time of year. And from a mindset perspective of like, what does this look like? It's the equivalent of November, December, and January inventory levels, right? So when you look at the inventory, you have to think back as to how we are operating around the holidays is the equivalent of where new and current inventory looks like. Interesting thing is there was a little bit of a blip and uptick in new listing inventory this week, or this most recent week versus 2 weeks ago. So we'll see where that trend continues. In terms of number of expired listings, this is interesting. So latest 8 weeks, again, basically February and March, we averaged around 148 expired listings a week. That's roughly, for perspective, about 2% of the total inventory. Last week alone, we saw 251 expired units within the marketplace. That doubled. So that was 4% of the total inventory. Last week, the week of March 30th, we saw the highest number of expired listings since the week of 12/30, which is essentially the end of 2019. So people, expired listings are increasing. It looks like people are a little, reacting in terms of from a health standpoint of what this looks like. And then number of units. So what I would say was that was kind of the cautionary tale with what's going on in the industry. Here is where I would say the positive swings or trends are within the industry. And now we're going to look at number of units that went under contract last week. So the latest 8 weeks average from February and March, we saw roughly 468 units a week that went under contract. That puts us at around an 8% on average sales absorption. So what that means is basically of the inventory that's on the market, 8% of it goes under contract every week based on February and March. Now, the latest 2 weeks, we saw an average of 404 units a week go under contract just in the last 2 weeks, right? That sales absorption rate for the last 2 weeks is only went down to 7%. Essentially what this is telling me is the homes that are on the market are still selling because we haven't seen a drastic fall off in the sales absorption rate. So there's still plenty of activity out there within the marketplace of units going under contract. And then last week, Annie Stabler brought up a great question as it regards to how is this impacting price. You can see in the red is for sale inventory in terms of median price, and the blue is units that are under contract in terms of median price. Essentially, when I looked into the data, there was no material change in median price point for current inventory. And there was a very minimal decline in median price point for those under contract. Essentially, everything that we believe to be happening within the marketplace is happening, right? So the prices have remained stable. There's still a very strong pricing market. And that just because inventory is on the market and probably going a little bit longer in terms of days on market or less activity in terms of showings, it's not having a material impact yet in terms of prices for your sellers. So just from a quick industry summary talking points to provide for you and your clients, showing activity is down significantly, obviously. New inventory units coming on the market is slowing, right? So the new listing inventory is equivalent to what we typically see around the holidays. So people are delaying their selling decisions. Listings that are expiring is double that of the norm, even though it's only 4% of the marketplace. However, yet here's the positive message: homes are still selling, right? There were 400 plus homes that went under contract last week with a 7% sales absorption rate, which is right in line with where we had been trending. And as well as from a price point perspective, if sellers are concerned about price falling off the cliff, we have not seen any material changes within our marketplace as it relates to median price points. So a little bit of a cautionary tale so that you can provide your clients, as well as some very positive things that are going on in terms of homes that are going under contract, as well as median price point. So I'll send this information out to the group today. All right, we are now jumping over to Kimmy.
Good morning, everyone. 3 things I'm going to talk about today. One is just a brief COVID-19 update with regards to compliance. The WRA released an updated COVID-19 addendum. So again, just to reiterate, this addendum addresses potential delays that might arise due to an office closure, office of a government agency or service provider closing, or if a person involved in a transaction is quarantined or isolated due to COVID-19, sorry. The revised addendum they kind of broke it down so it's a little more clear. There's separate checkboxes with separate checkbox provisions with definitions and clearer language. So just a reminder, if you are incorporating this addendum into an offer that's already under contract, you must draft and execute an amendment to the offer to purchase and incorporate this addendum into the amendment. I've seen quite a few of these executed, but again, it's really a conversation between you and your co-broke and buyer and seller as to whether incorporating this addendum makes sense in your specific transaction. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have questions, want to talk about your situation. So that's my only COVID-19 update for you. Next thing I want to talk about again is a reminder of our electronic earnest money. So we now have the capability of accepting earnest money electronically through trust funds. So I'm going to just walk you through the steps of how a buyer's agent would do this on your property if it's your listing. So first, they're going to go into the MLS and click on the trust fund earnest money deposit link. So Charlie, if you want to go to the next slide. So you'll find this link right in the details tab of MLS. Next step will be choosing the designated trusted account holder. So the buyer's agent is going to see Keller Williams North Shore as the listing broker. So they would just click that box and then click continue. Then the next step will be for the buyer's agent to complete this form. They're going to acknowledge who's the buyer, what's their email, how much earnest money the buyer is going to be sending over. There is a $5 convenience fee for the buyer, so make sure that they're aware of that. And then once that is complete, then the buyer receives notification. It'll come in an email looking like this. They'll have a picture of the property from MLS as well as the agent information. And then they will then follow the prompts of submitting the earnest money payment through their bank account. After they have taken this step, all parties are, so this is what it looks like for the buyer when they go through their process. Once the buyer pays online, then all parties will receive a email notification that earnest money has been submitted. And then that email notification, if you just put that into a PDF, that is what can be uploaded into your opportunity for compliance. So just be sure you're telling your buyer's agents who are writing offers on your property, your listings, that to please use the electronic earnest money via trust funds. Last thing I have talked about is continuing education. So now that we're all sequestered at home for the next couple of weeks, great time to get your continuing ed done. So the requirement is to complete 18 hours of CE every 2 years. So there are 6 topics that you must cover with your continuing ed. So listing contracts, offers to purchase, new developments, real estate ethics and consumer protection, real estate law and practice, and real estate transactions. So all 6 of these are required. They used to have elective courses as well. Those are no longer a part of it. So it's just 6 required courses. Everybody has to do the same. All of these courses or your continuing ed must be completed by December, Charlie, if you want to go to the next slide, by December 14th. The WRA, I think, is the best route to go through as far as doing your continuing ed. It's all outlined in one package. So you're purchasing all 6 courses. It's about $21 per course, so about $126 total. However, I do recognize that there's a lot of other vendors or providers that offer continuing education. If you're choosing to go through another provider, just be sure to check out the DSPS website, and I can send this link out to everybody. There is you need to be sure you're going through an approved vendor, approved provider, to ensure you're getting all the right courses. Lastly, next slide. Is your license renewal complete once you do your CE? No. So this is a common, people get confused about this. You can't just take your CE. That's just step 1. The next step is you actually have to renew your license through the DSPS. So DSPS typically opens that online renewal process around October. So I will, of course, remind you all, come fall, that once you complete your CE, then you have to go through the online process in October, starting around October. But now is an absolutely great time to get those CE credits in while we're at home.
Cool. Thanks, Kimmy. All right. Social media awareness and self-awareness. DG, you're up.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks, Josh, for getting us started with good gratitude and talking about our culture of professionalism. And one of the reasons I share this is because of this topic right here. I want to start with the congratulations to all the agents in the room. Since the shelter-in-place order has been issued, watching on social media and how we conduct ourselves, we have had a very high level of professionalism in the posts that we make and in the way that we're communicating with the world, that we are an essential employee, so to say. And right now, it's really important that we remain essential because people need homes. If you're out buying and selling in this environment, it's because you need to, and it's really important that we continue conducting ourselves in a way that kind of corresponds to what essential business definition is. Not everybody in the country right now is allowed to practice. There are 17 states that consider real estate to be an essential service. And frankly, as we kind of hunker down for the next couple weeks when things are getting, kind of our country is rolling through this next phase of the pandemic, states are looking at how professionals are conducting themselves and evaluating, is this still an essential service? Do we still need to keep this group on the list so that we, do we need to contain people to contain the virus? So one of the ways that we ensure that we are providing service at the highest level is to kind of double down on what we've been doing and what we've seen on Facebook and communications through KW particularly. The message, needs to match the moment right now. And again, we've seen this, so congratulations. This is really a reminder to keep this up. So it's an exciting time when you buy a house, and right now it's a challenging time. So just remember, as you're posting and you're communicating with your clients, really good information, and just be aware of your optics. So the pictures that are drawing particular attention across the country are when you're standing right next to your buyer or seller client. That's not respecting the kind of how we do business as an essential person. So pictures of homes and congratulations and all that need to have the correct distance in place and all that good stuff. So again, congratulations, we're doing that. We are a culture of excellence, and we've seen that. This is just rolling into a longer time right now, and people continue to evaluate that. So if you have questions or whatnot, feel free to talk to your leadership or just to make sure that we're conducting ourselves appropriately in this challenging time. So.
Cool. Thanks, DG. All right, Lindsay Vranick, Tech Tuesday. What do we got coming with KW Mobile app?
All right, so today is all about the app. So tech training is at 1 o'clock today. So there's a lot of really great tools. As I'm sure you guys have kind of played around with this new app that was released, I think, back in February. So I just want to touch on one of the things that kind of sets our app apart from, let's say, Zillow or Realtor.com, and that is the search capabilities. So one of the things that our app has that Zillow does not have is the ability to search by neighborhood. So let's say you've got a client who is looking to live in or near, let's say, Clody Park in Whitefish Bay. One of the things that they can do is when you're viewing the map, you can actually zoom in and view the neighborhood boundaries and then actually click on the neighborhood name. And so along with that is you've got this market snapshot that includes average days on market, average home price. There's also a Yelp integration. So you can see like nearby restaurants, shopping, coffee shops, things like that. And so you'll see on that video here, the names of the neighborhoods are appearing. And so this is the market snapshot. So here's all the stats. You've even got commute times, nearby schools, which also includes the student-teacher ratio. So a lot of really great information that your clients can view on the app. And so here's that Yelp integration. And then at the very bottom, you've got homes for sale. If your client knows the name of the neighborhood that they're looking in, you can also search for it as well. So that'll pull up that market snapshot right away. So just one of the many tools and features that are in the app that really sets us apart from Zillow and Realtor.com and other brokerages' mobile apps. So 1 o'clock today, all about the app. I'll be diving into all the other tools that benefit both you as the agent and then your clients as well.
Perfect. Lindsay, thank you. KW Mobile app, guys, if you haven't played around in it, I highly encourage it. Otherwise, Lindsay will be on the Zoom today at 1 o'clock going through all the details of what you need to know on the new KW Mobile app. Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay. All right. And if you need Lindsay's information, again, here's a reminder. Here's her cell phone and email address. Feel free to reach out to her with any questions, integration, database entry. As Josh and his team has talked about, it's a great way, great time to really begin integrating a lot of what you do into Command, and Lindsay is here to help serve you during that time. Cool. Mandy, upcoming training and education.
All right, so you should have received an email from me yesterday afternoon about some of these financial assistance programs that are out there. So if you didn't take a look at it, be sure to pull it up. There's some really great information in there about these two programs that we're hearing a lot about that are available to a lot of you. So the first is that Paycheck Protection Program, or the PPP. What this does is it's going to provide small businesses funds to pay up to 8 weeks of payroll costs, as well as help pay interest on mortgages, rent, and utilities. The important thing to remember with the PPP is that at least 75% of the funds must be used to pay payroll. And the forgiveness will be reduced if the full-time headcount either declines or if salaries and wages decrease. So for more information on that, you can go right to sba.gov. And then the other program is all about the EIDL, or the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. This is available to sole proprietors with and without employees, as well as independent contractors. So for more information on that, there's a website. I would also just recommend, if you have any questions on these programs and before signing up for any of them, to really refer directly to the SBA website, your banker, or an accountant. So take a look out for that email. Then for training this week, we have a ton of really great stuff happening this week. So the live streams are all national, and then trainings that we have locally. Right after team meeting today at 10:30, Amanda is going to be going through the second half of the WB11 in Launch Coach program. CJ is on for Coffee with a Capper this Wednesday, so don't forget to miss that. It'll be on Zoom as well as Southwest's Facebook live stream. Thursday for productivity coaching, Connie and Janine are going to be going over how to price a property and how to run a competitive market analysis. So they're going to be going through that CMA process. And then Friday, just a reminder, at 10 o'clock, there's always Tech Labs. This week, it's going to be with Amanda from Lake Country. And then at noon, for a lot of you newer agents who not really sure where to go for things, or if you're just needing a refresher, Diana is going to be going over a KW 101, just a bunch of sites, places to go for everything. So be sure to check that out Friday at noon.
Cool. And then
if you miss any of these trainings too, just a reminder, all of them are going to be recorded and posted to that YouTube channel. So I think we have about 51 subscribers now. If you subscribe, you'll get a little ping that there's a new video available to watch. So if you miss any of these, don't worry, they're all going to be available to go back and re-reference on the YouTube channel.
cool. And then guys, to wrap it up, some new news is coming here in May. Keller Williams is going to be launching what they call Bold Pivot. Right. And as Gary mentioned recently on a call that we were on, he said to survive a shift, you must first make the mental shift to run towards what you most want and avoid the temptation of running away from what you most fear. So Bold Pivot, what does this look like? Right. It's going to reset of your mind, ensuring you overcome your limiting beliefs and obtaining your big goals, time-saving strategy, access to proven timely scripts and the delivery methods that naturally influence people to work with you, guidance on how to mine your database, and best practices for making calls, setting appointments, and closing contracts right now. I think one of the coolest things they've done with Bold is it's never the same program, and I can almost assure you this program will be totally different than what we did in the fall based on where we are today. So details for you, go to mapscoaching.com if you're interested in registering. I think one of the coolest things they're going to do is usually Bold is $7.99 for this program. Now for Bold Pivot, it's going to be $99. It's going to be all via live stream. It's 4 weeks for 2 hours, 2 days per week, right? And it begins May 5th. So highly recommend it. It's a great way to hold yourself accountable and do business building habits with many people across the country at a very affordable rate of $99. But just be on the lookout for more information for that. And then lastly, as a little teaser for next week, we have another special guest. He's a nationally recognized coach. He will be in our team meeting. Some of you may recognize him as soon as he jumps on the call, but you won't want to miss it. And lastly, I will leave you with this. As Josh kind of stated to us earlier today, as his coach told him, mind share right now will lead to market share down the road. Go make deposits into people's lives. Guys, have a great week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great day, guys. Thanks.